After the recent news about the relationship between Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes, all of the F1 world is in a state of shock. But how exactly their partnership has reached a critical point? To answer all of the questions, we'll be diving into the main story that's got everyone talking. A shocking twist for Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes after a leaked contract clause. But that's not all. We'll also be covering two other important updates from the Mercedes camp. So buckle up, because this is going to be a wild ride. The first story is the one that's dominating the headlines right now. A shocking twist for Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes after a leaked contract clause. If you haven't heard, there's been a major development in the ongoing saga between Lewis Hamilton and his team, Mercedes. A leaked document has revealed a previously undisclosed clause in Hamilton's contract that could have far-reaching implications for both the driver and the team. According to the leaked document, there's a clause in Hamilton's contract that allows Mercedes to terminate his contract without penalty if he fails to meet certain performance metrics. This clause has been kept under wraps until now, and its revelation has sent shockwaves through the F1 community. The specifics of these performance metrics are still unclear, but the mere existence of such a clause is a bombshell. This news comes at a time when Hamilton has been vocal about his dissatisfaction with Mercedes' performance this season. The team has struggled to keep up with Red Bull and Ferrari, and Hamilton has been visibly frustrated on the track. Some insiders are speculating that this clause could be a way for Mercedes to cut ties with Hamilton if the team's struggles continue, without having to pay out the remainder of his contract. Of course, this raises a lot of questions. Is this clause a sign that Mercedes is losing faith in Hamilton? Or is it a precautionary measure to protect the team's interests in case of a prolonged slump? Either way, it's clear that this revelation has added a new layer of tension to the already strained relationship between Hamilton and Mercedes. But it doesn't stop there. The leaked document also suggests that Hamilton has the option to buy out his contract if he feels that Mercedes is no longer providing him with the tools he needs to compete at the highest level. This could open the door for Hamilton to explore other options, potentially even a move to another team. The idea of Hamilton leaving Mercedes after so many years together is almost unthinkable, but this clause makes it a real possibility. So what does this mean for the future of Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. This leaked contract clause has added a whole new level of intrigue to the F1 season. Stay tuned, because we'll be keeping a close eye on this developing story. The implications of this leaked clause are far-reaching. For one, it puts additional pressure on Hamilton to perform at his absolute best. If he fails to meet the performance metrics outlined in the contract, Mercedes could potentially terminate his contract without any financial repercussions. This could be a significant blow to Hamilton, who has been with Mercedes since 2013 and has achieved unparalleled success with the team. On the other hand, this clause could also be seen as a strategic move by Mercedes. The team has been struggling this season, and there's a growing sense that they need to make significant changes to stay competitive. By including this clause in Hamilton's contract, Mercedes may be signaling that they are willing to make tough decisions to protect their long-term interests. If Hamilton's performance declines, the team could use this clause to cut ties and potentially bring in a new driver who can help them regain their dominance. However, this move could also backfire. Hamilton is one of the most marketable drivers in F1, and his departure could have significant financial implications for Mercedes. Additionally, Hamilton's experience and leadership are invaluable to the team, and losing him could set Mercedes back even further. The team would need to carefully consider the potential consequences before exercising this clause. Another aspect to consider is Hamilton's reaction to this revelation. The seven-time world champion has always been vocal about his desire to compete at the highest level, and he may view this clause as a lack of faith in his abilities. If Hamilton feels that Mercedes is no longer committed to providing him with the tools he needs to succeed, he could exercise his option to buy out his contract and explore other opportunities. This could lead to a high-profile move to another team, such as Ferrari, which has been rumored to be interested in Hamilton's services. The idea of Hamilton joining Ferrari is particularly intriguing. Ferrari has a rich history in F1 and has been one of the most successful teams in the sport. A partnership between Hamilton and Ferrari could be a game-changer, potentially leading to a new era of dominance for the Italian team. However, such a move would also come with its own set of challenges. Hamilton would need to adapt to a new team, new car, and new working environment, all while dealing with the pressure of living up to the expectations of Ferrari's passionate fan base. In conclusion, the leaked contract clause has added a new layer of complexity to the relationship between Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes. It raises important questions about the future of both the driver and the team, and it could lead to significant changes in the F1 landscape. Only time will tell how this story unfolds. But one thing is certain. This is a story that will continue to dominate the headlines in the coming weeks and months. But wait, there's more drama in the Mercedes camp. Next up, we dive into the latest developments with the Mercedes W15. The second story is all about the latest developments with the Mercedes W15. As we all know, Mercedes has been facing some significant challenges this season, and the W15 has been at the center of those struggles. But there's been a recent update that could signal a turning point for the team. Mercedes has been working tirelessly to address the issues with the W15, particularly the car's porpoising problem. Porpoising is a phenomenon where the car bounces up and down at high speeds, causing instability and making it difficult for the drivers to control. This has been a major issue for Mercedes, and it's one of the reasons why they've struggled to keep up with Red Bull and Ferrari. However, there's been some positive news coming out of the Mercedes camp. The team has been testing a new floor design for the W15, and initial results are looking promising. The new floor is designed to reduce the amount of air that gets trapped underneath the car, which is a key factor in causing porpoising. If this new design works as intended, it could significantly improve the car's performance and stability. Mercedes has also been experimenting with different suspension setups to further mitigate the issue. The team has been using data from recent tests to fine-tune the car's suspension, and there are reports that the latest iterations are showing a marked improvement in the car's handling. Of course, it's still early days, and we won't know for sure how effective these changes will be until the car hits the track in a race situation. But the fact that Mercedes is making progress in addressing the W15's issues is a positive sign. If they can get the car sorted out, it could give Hamilton and George Russell a much-needed boost in performance. So, while the W15 has been a source of frustration for Mercedes this season, there's reason to be optimistic about the team's future. The latest developments suggest that Mercedes is on the right track, and if they can continue to make improvements, we could see a resurgence from the Silver Arrows in the coming races. But what about George Russell? Let's find out what's been happening with him. The third story is all about George Russell. As we all know, George has been making waves in his first full season with Mercedes, and there have been some recent developments that are worth discussing. First up, George has been making headlines with his consistent performances this season. Despite the struggles of the W15, George has managed to secure some impressive results, including a podium finish in the last race. His ability to extract the maximum performance from the car, even in difficult conditions, has not gone unnoticed. But it's not just his on-track performances that have been making headlines. George has also been making waves off the track, particularly with his comments about the team's development direction. In a recent interview, George expressed his frustration with the team's focus on long-term development at the expense of short-term performance. He argued that the team needs to prioritize immediate improvements to stay competitive in the current season. George's comments have sparked a lot of debate within the F1 community. Some see his remarks as a sign of his growing influence within the team, while others view it as a potential source of tension between him and the team's management. Either way, It's clear that George is not afraid to speak his mind, and his candidness is refreshing in a sport where drivers are often expected to toe the party line. Another recent story about George involves his contract negotiations with Mercedes. There have been reports that George is in talks with the team about extending his contract, but negotiations have reportedly hit a snag. The sticking point seems to be the length of the contract. George is said to be pushing for a shorter deal, while Mercedes is reportedly looking for a longer commitment. This could be a sign that George is keeping his options open, potentially eyeing a move to another team if Mercedes can't provide him with the competitive car he needs. Or it could simply be a negotiating tactic to secure better terms. Either way, it's clear that George is thinking about his future, and his contract situation is something to keep an eye on. So while George Russell has been making headlines for his on-track performances, his off-track activities are just as intriguing. His comments about the team's development direction, combined with his ongoing contract negotiations, suggest that George is a driver who is not afraid to take control of his own destiny. And that's something that could have significant implications for the future of Mercedes. George's rise to prominence has been nothing short of remarkable. From his early days in junior categories to his impressive performances in Williams, Russell has always shown a keen understanding of the sport and a relentless drive to succeed. His move to Mercedes was seen as a natural progression, and he has quickly established himself as a key figure within the team. However, the challenges of the W15 have tested Russell's patience and resolve. The car's proposing issue has been a constant source of frustration, and Russell has had to work hard to extract the best possible results. Despite these challenges, he has consistently outperformed expectations, earning the respect of both his teammates and rivals. Off the track, Russell's comments about the team's development direction have added another layer of intrigue to his story. His willingness to speak out about the team's priorities suggests a level of confidence and assertiveness that is rare among young drivers. It also highlights the growing influence that Russell has within the team, as he seeks to shape the direction of Mercedes' development efforts. The ongoing contract negotiations add another dimension to the story. While it's not uncommon for drivers to push for shorter contracts, especially in the early stages of their careers, Russell's stance could be seen as a sign of his ambition. By seeking a shorter deal, he is effectively keeping his options open, giving himself the flexibility to explore other opportunities if Mercedes fails to deliver a competitive car. This approach is not without risk. A shorter contract could limit Russell's long-term security, and it could also create tension within the team. However, it also demonstrates a level of strategic thinking that is becoming increasingly important in the modern F1 landscape. As teams and drivers navigate the complexities of the sport, the ability to adapt and make strategic decisions will be crucial. In conclusion, George Russell's recent developments highlight the complex dynamics at play within the Mercedes team. His consistent performances, candid comments, and ongoing contract negotiations suggest a driver who is not afraid to take control of his own destiny. As we look to the future, it will be fascinating to see how these developments play out and what they mean for the future of Mercedes. But what does all this mean for the future of Mercedes? Let's discuss that in our outro. When Hamilton leaves Mercedes, they'll surely have to find a driver and a mentor at least as good as him. And that could be a real problem. So is the future really clear for the Silver Stars? Stay tuned, because we'll be keeping a close eye on all these stories as they continue to unfold. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update.